Adrian, can I ask you a question? If it had just been the video that had been released a few months ago, and not the 260,000 classified documents, what would you have done then?
Absolutely not. And I'm not going to win any friends in the federal government by saying this.
You wouldn't have turned them in, you're saying?
Say again?
You wouldn't have turned them in based on just the video?
When I knew about the video, I did not contact anybody regarding his activities. I didn't think that there was anything to be gained by it. When it was the documents, I thought that there was a possibility that they could be recovered, or at the very least, that there could be a reduced probability that they would be released if the government had the opportunity to take prompt action. And I know that this isn't a crowd that's always friendly towards the government. Hell, I haven't always been friendly towards the government. To this day, I'm not friendly towards all arms of the government. Thank you. And I explicitly requested that no FBI agents that were involved in investigating hackers, that nobody that was involved in anything except for investigating computer crimes involved being classified national security systems be involved in the investigation. Those were my terms. That was the only way that I was going to sit down with any investigators and talk to them. And they're like, that's it? Well, sure. And it was a surprisingly pleasant undertaking in the sense that I was never coached when I didn't remember something from the logs. Nobody said, well, are you sure it couldn't have been this way? Are you sure it couldn't have been that way? They simply said, okay, we're going to redact that from the affidavit then. I think that the government behaved themselves better than a lot of people would give them credit for. To set the record clear, I'm not an informant. I'm a witness in a criminal case. It's not that different in my eyes from being a witness in any other case that could involve potential loss of life.
I mean, you said it's been a pleasant experience for you as working with the government on this, I guess. But Bradley Manning, the alleged leaker, is currently sitting in prison in Kuwait, I believe, and he could be locked up for the rest of his life. How do you feel about that?
I think that it's a little bit ludicrous to say that Bradley Manning is going to be tortured. We don't do that to our
It's still open to debate.
And it depends on your definition of torture.
But let him answer the question. How do you feel about whatever state you think he's in right now because of your actions?
He's not far from where he was to begin with when he signed up for an all-volunteer army, signed the forms indicating that he would handle classified material appropriately. He took, even if you're just talking about the video, the colloquially called collateral murder video, he took it from a JAG, the Judge Advocate General's office, officer's computer. That indicates that they were investigating it most likely at that time, and he could have compromised that investigation. So if there was a war criminal involved here, they could walk free because evidence was compromised as a result of Mr. Manning's actions.
I'm not sure what people are voting for, but war criminals walking free or Okay, listen, no shouting out. If you want to ask a question, step up to the microphone. If no one's at the microphone now, people on the panel will ask Adrian.
I'd like to interject for a second. One thing that I'm not really understanding that I'm dying to know, and I'm sure many people in the audience are dying to know, is why you're a witness. A person that, in my estimation, is of no particular import to this case whatsoever. Why did this soldier approach you with this information? That's what I'm not understanding.
I think only Mr. Manning can really answer that question. I don't know what was going through his mind necessarily. He indicated that, well, I'm going to backtrack a little bit.
Didn't he contact you because you were in Wired magazine and he saw you and thought that you'd be a friend to him?
He indicated that he had seen my name in a search on Twitter for WikiLeaks. And the reason for that is that I have been a longtime supporter of WikiLeaks and am to this day. I believe that the mission is important. I think that they should continue to go forward, and I think that they should focus on oppressive regimes throughout the world. Is anyone in this room being oppressed right now?
Well, not by us, I hope. All right. We have some audience questions. Let's start with the first one. And please, no speeches. Make it short, succinct, but try not to shout anybody down and see what we have to say. Go ahead.
So I appreciate your willingness to stand up in front and talk to us, but the stuff that I'm hearing you say, and I'm talking to Adrian here, in case that wasn't clear, the stuff that I'm hearing you say has a lot of American exceptions in it. Like, you seem to think that American lives are worth more than the lives that, for example, were being taken. I don't know how you justify that.
Actually, I haven't said that at all. What I've said is that there may have been war criminals involved, those being the helicopter pilots. I wasn't there, I can't say for sure, but that there was apparently an investigation going on based on the fact that the video was found in the computer of an officer of the judicial branch of the military, and that investigation may have been compromised. So if anything, I'm saying that there were Americans involved who may have been involved in misconduct based on looking at the video. I would encourage people throughout the audience to look at it in its full unedited form, but nevertheless, even in its unedited form, it does appear somewhat damning.
You're not answering my question about why you think that the potential American lives, say, tourists in other countries who might have, might feel worse or might be more scared because people think Americans are jerks because our actual activities are being exposed.
Because everybody else sucks.
I'm not listening to you.
My question is why you thought those were privileged above the lives that we are taking every day in Iraq and Afghanistan. Why are you willing to privilege those lives, the lives of...
Because those are the lives that I have the opportunity to try to affect positively. I'm not holding a machine gun. I'm not sitting in Afghanistan. I'm not shooting at people that are in their own hearts and minds trying to follow their own conscience, be it a misguided or be it a correct action. I don't have standing to say. There's a very good quote that a friend of mine, who of all things is a Little League umpire, uses very often when one of his calls is questioned, and that's, well, okay, I appreciate your input, but what did you see from where I was standing? And generally speaking, the answer is not a damn thing, because they were in the bleachers.